Right, so this is an Acer palmatum Osakazuki. It's one of the parent trees I've talked about in another video. I've taken several air layers off of this tree in the past. When I bought it, it was a lot smaller than this. It had a very unusual shape to the trunk. You can see this big curve here. Well, when I turn it around, you can see what I've done. I've carved out a great big chunk of it because this bulge was even worse here over this side. So it was a very weird sort of trunk line for a bonsai, and it took me a couple of years to work out what I wanted to do with it to try and bring it into a more recognisable bonsai. So what I've done, as you can see, with this carving, I've actually hollowed it out completely. So from this side we've got a complete hole. This is where I took off one of the air layers that I've talked about in another video. These were air layers. The top I air layered, and this was an air layer as well. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 trees off this. I think I took one off of there as well. 6. That might have been one as well. So 6 or 7 trees have come off of this in the past. It's now starting to get a little bit more developed. So I've had it for a few years now and propagated quite a few trees off of it. It's never going to be the most classical or most beautiful of bonsais, but it was one that I sort of trained on, really. I used it to do a couple of different techniques. So over the years, I had it on one occasion, I think either this tree or the other one, I had 5 different air layers on it at the same time, and every one of them took. So that was pretty good. It's got quite a nice root structure developing. I was just going to do a quick video on it today, just to trim some of the spring growth back, take off all the buds that are in the wrong positions. I've noticed there's quite a few buds coming from the underneath the branches, so you don't really need those. On further inspection, I've seen a couple of places where the ramification can be improved. We've got this branch here, which is not very much the same sort of width all the way through. It does taper, but it's not tapering very quickly. I'm thinking of taking off this section here so that we've got the 2 buds back there, which will fill in. We've got the chance of 2 different branches coming out there, and that's going to really reduce the taper. I could do the same here, where I could take this lower branch off and leave these 2 here to carry on. Over here we've got a fairly thick branch, but underneath there is one single bud, I think. Yep. So I could take that branch off and leave that one single one to extend the branch that way. I've got a couple coming out of the side here, which will give me a bit more of an infill for that area of the tree. There was one underneath, I believe. Yep, there's one on the inside nook there, which will come off. So the first thing I was going to do was just go around and do that, but then I started looking at the roots. So as you can see, I've already had a little bit of a poke around. I've just retrieved this root out from underneath here, so we can bring that out that way. There's one over here. This root here is very close to these other 2. This one is broken off here, so I could just take that off, but I do like the way that goes into the ground there. So what I was going to do is take some of the soil off, see if I can trace where this root goes, and then just ease it out into this position here. I might just put a stone in between it, or a piece of bamboo, or even put a piece of wire on it, depending on how thick it is and how easy it is to move. But I was just going to move it across a little bit just to fill in this space here, because we've got no root. From what I can see at the moment, there were no roots. There's one going straight down, which isn't going to help the root or the barley fill out. we've had a little visitor from the squirrel. He's planted an acorn down there, so that was starting to grow. I'll have to get the rest of that out now. Yeah, well, we'll get that out later. That's just broken that off. Right, so that's going to be the main thing for today. Try and move that root over, and then just to try and refine some of the roots here. We've got this one which is coming from underneath and it's crossing through another root there. So I'll take off as much soil as I can and try and just rearrange some of those roots a bit better. It'd be nice if I could get some roots in this area. There were some very fine ones there which may develop into thicker roots over the years, so that's good. We've got this one here. These, I don't know, yeah, that one looks like it's going down into the ground, so that one could be brought out a bit. That one is just a dead one, so we can take that one off. Right, so what I'll do for the first part of the video is I'll just go around and do the top of the tree, give that a bit of a tidy up, and then I'll do the roots. But what I'll do, I'll cut the video when I do the roots. It's going to take a long time to get the soil off, and we've all seen videos of people raking out the soil, so we don't really need to see that again. Once I've raked out the soil, I'll restart the video and we'll come back and we'll see what we can do with the roots. I might put it into a slightly wider pot so we can spread the roots out a bit more. We'll have to wait and see on that. So it's just in this training pot at the moment, so let's have a look, see what we can do. So I'll just get the scalpel blade as well, because I can use that to get the single ones and the ones that are in the little crooks of the branches. So we've got one right under there which we can just nip off with the scalpel. So I use this for getting into all the really tiny areas. So that one in there, that one can come off. I'll leave that one for now, because again that could give me a nice little branch in that area. So under here we've got quite a few buds, so I'll just take those two off for a moment. Get rid of that one. So I've got these two buds here. Now, because I'm trying to bring in some ramification on this tree, I'm just wondering whether I cut off that branch there, let those two grow. That will bring down the thickness of the branches. I'll leave that for the moment. I'll think about it and we'll come back to it at some stage, but for now I'm just going to go around and take off everything that's not needed, and then come back to see the ones that might give us some extra use. So we've got a massive buds on the end of there. There's one on the underside, that can come off. That small one there can come out. Looks like a small one there. Take those two off the main trunk. That one can come off. There's a couple of small ones. I'm going to leave those because I could do with another branch coming out and filling that area in, so we'll leave those. We can always come back to it at a later date. Right, so I haven't really decided on the front for this tree as such, because different angles give you different views. That's probably the front there at the moment anyway. It's got the cleanest trunk line and it's got the most interest. I'd like some more roots in the front here, but that's for the years to come. This has got the best root spread, but it's on the wrong side of the tree. So just have a look. So we've got a little bud in the inside there which can come out. This one under here, take those off. That one can come off. Right, so what's the development of this branch? Right, so yeah, so this one, I think this one will come off and we'll redirect this branch this way because we've got this one coming across here. It's got a nice bit of ramification. You can possibly bring that down a fraction. I'll have to try and twist the whole branch, but we'll see. Right, so while I'm thinking about that bit then, the end of this can come off. Let's leave some for dieback. While I'm thinking about it, get the wound sealant because the sun keeps coming in and out at the moment. It's nice and shiny at the moment, so things will dry up quickly in the sun. So let's just do that straight away. Right. So inside here you've got that one and that one. Right, we've got a cluster of buds here. Far too many for what we need. It's just deciding, you know, if we get, take that one out, take that one out. This one on the side here. You can rub these out with your finger if you like, but I find for the ones that are in the real tight spaces, this little scalpel blade is ideal. So I'll take those two off the side there, we don't need those. Right, so if I take that back one off, what I'm going to do here, because this is going up into the air, I'm going to take that one off. And there is a bud which I can train forward. So I'll just seal that. Right, so I need my cutters. So I'm just going to tidy up some of these little dead stubs from previous prunings. Come off. Take that one off, leave the other one. Right, this branch here, going back into the tree really. So I'm going to take that one off. Right, so this one we'll take off the top branch of the two there. Have you got it? That's it. Right, so on the underside of this branch is little knobbly bits that I don't like the look of. That can come off. One more there. That's it. Right, I think I might try and just spread those two branches slightly. Wire cutters. Just anchor that around that main branch. So this is where you need to be very careful not to damage the buds. That's causing some problem there. Right, so let's go around the other way. Let's go like that. Anchor that on there first. That's it. And you can use that to come under and over that way. That way we've avoided that bud that I want to keep for a little while. That still allows me just to twist that branch back out of the way. So just a little twist, a little bit of a kink, that's it. I'm going to leave that extra wire on so that when these elongate I'll be able just to carry on the line that I want. So what I'll do for now, I'll just bend it back under so it's out of the way, but I can use that to carry on the next line of the tree. Right, that one's a bit stiffer than the other branch. That's not going to move much, so it's going to be a question of pruning it in the direction you want it to go. So I think what I'll do, because we've got a couple of buds there, we're going to take that off. I'll take that one off as well. So that's going to allow me to bring that this way. So that's going to make a nice little padded area there. That can come off. Right, so we've got 2, 4, 6, we've got 7 buds in that tiny little section there. We're not going to need all of them. Should I go back to 2? Yep, we'll take that back to the 2. We'll see what happens there. This one here is going to interfere with this small branch, so we're going to take that one off. Just tidy that up a bit. Actually, I can see another bud there. Just scrape that off with the tip. Then there's one there. Get rid of him. Right, so in this little stub here, don't want that piece. I'll get rid of that one. Leave those other 2. That one you just nip back a bit. Take off the dead ends from last year. Right, what have we got on this branch? Right, so here we've got a potential branch coming back into the tree, so we'll take that bud off there. It's heading in totally the wrong direction. That leaves us with those 2 branches, which are both going to cross over this branch eventually if I leave them. Let me think on that one. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a bit of a drastic prune on there. I'm going to take all of this branch off. I'm going to leave this one here to bring it out this way. Those can then be trained to the left of that. So we need side cutters. So let's go to out there. I'm going to put that in a pot of water, just so that once I finish this, hopefully I might be able to get a cutting from that. So I've got a little pot of water here. So I like to just put any potential cuttings in water so they don't dry out. That's just, it might be a bit early in the season for that to take, but we'll try it. I'll put it in a propagator and see if we can keep a nice moist atmosphere around it. It may well take, but it's worth trying. Right, so let's seal that wound. Okay. Right, so that's going to introduce a nice piece of taper from here to here, so when we get this new branch coming out here, maybe a question that we even discard this branch. Again, it's a bit on the stiff side to move anywhere. It's far enough above these two branches not to really shade it out, so I may just trim it back a little bit. Have we got any coming out? Nah. Well, we've got this one coming out on the right hand side as I look at it, but it's a bit far back. I'd really have liked a couple of buds here coming to the right, then we could have trimmed it off. So I'll leave that for now. There are some small buds there which are going to come out, so if I can just move those across to the left, or the right hand like that. Let me get rid of that one. That one won't be needed. And I think I'll take the two end ones off as well. So we'll take that back to there. And that's obviously going to encourage those other buds to grow, which is what we want. So that's hopefully going to allow me to put a bit of ramification into that area of the tree. So let's have another look. Let's see what we can see. So, right, so at the top, a couple of buds there. Rub it out using the neutral trunk there. That's it. Right, so I'm going to take off this thicker branch here. I'm going to allow that bud to fill in there, so that again gives us taper and ramification. And that's very stiff to move. Right, so those buds, I'm going to leave the buds there because I'm thinking I might take this branch off. If I can get those to grow into this position, that'll be good. So we'll leave that for now. So I'm just going to take off the apricot bud there. I'll take off these just to see if we can induce some buds to spring back from there. This one's got too many buds on. That one can go back because it's got more coming out. We'll go back to 2 there. We'll take that back a bit as well. Like this one, I think going in the wrong direction really. I may be able to bring it down, perhaps use a tourniquet to bring it down rather than wire. Let's just, I think I'll just try that with a bit of wire, see how that looks. If I don't like it, we can always do something else with it. Bring that under that branch like so. Slightly better than it was. Let's put a nice little kink in that branch. That's okay, so we'll leave that like that for now. What else can we do? There's a plant. Let's get rid of that one. There's a bud right under there. Right, so there's a bud under here which I'm going to leave for now because I might get rid of this. This is a little bit straight for my liking. Once that comes out, if I train that with a little bit of wire, I can get the right angle that I want on it. I'll leave the rest of the top for the moment. Anything else down the bottom we can do. Right, so there's quite a few little adventitious buds here. That one is on the inside, that can come off. These are on the top, you don't need those, they can come off. And let's just tidy that up. Just about. Yeah, there's a nasty premium smell there, which I'm going to try on. It's not so bad now, that's better. So we've got another one under there which is a bit of an ugly one, that's better. Right, well, if I just take the edge off of there as well, that's good. Right, so let's put a bit of sealer on there. That's good for that. Right, so let's just see where we are. Right, so this one is a bit straight, so we're going to get in there as close as we can and nip that off. Top that off, and if I can get in there, really. Take that off as well. Right, a little bit of stub there, that's not very nice. Okay, so I think that might be enough for the top growth at the moment. Let's just double check what we've got. Move that up a bit. Yep, so we're letting that develop. See how that goes. Right, so I think I'm going to leave the top growth as it is for now. That's enough for today on that, so I'm going to work on the roots. It's going to take me probably an hour or so looking at how dense the root mass is in there. So I'll pause the video for now and then we'll come back once I've done the roots and we'll see what we can do with the layout of the actual roots themselves. See you in a minute. Right, so I've managed to tease out all the roots and chop off what I don't need. So basically that's the root ball. So what I've done here, I've put some slate on where I want the new roots to try and come out in a parallel plane to the rest of them. So underneath, as you can see, I've got rooting powder, so I've chopped off little pieces of bark into various places, put some rooting powder on it, and so with a bit of luck we'll get a few more roots coming out of there, we get a few more roots coming out of there, so that'll fill in the gaps. I've put some under these two here as well, because what I might want to try and do is replace those in the future. They sit a bit high compared to the rest of the roots, so never tried it this particular way before. I've seen this sort of method in the books where you put a plate underneath to spread the roots out, so we'll see if that'll work. May need to leave it in there for a few years just so that when these finer roots here thicken up, they get pushed upwards rather than growing downwards. So we'll see how that goes. I've decided on putting it in this big round drum pot. The reason for that is the roots fit in nicely without any need to chop any further roots off. It's nice and deep as well, so I can put a good drainage layer in. I'm going to put some sphagnum moss around the roots as well, that helps, and I'll mix that in with a bit of akadama, and then I can cover all those roots over as well and just leave it for 2 or 3 years and see how it goes. And the good thing about putting it in a round pot as well, if you're not sure where the front of the tree is, it doesn't matter in a round pot because you can just turn it around to whichever side you want to look at any one time. So let's put a drainage layer in. So this is just a standard bonsai mix basically. It's quite an open mix. It's got a bit of akadama, it's got some peat, perlite, a couple of other bits and pieces. So that's probably going to be enough for the drainage layer. So I've already got some sphagnum moss soaking in a bucket. It's going to be nice and wet, so bring that up. So what I'm going to do, just get that, liberally place that around where the roots are going to be. So I want as much contact with the root as I can get. And then what I will do as well, I'll get some, I'll stuff it in there. I'll get it under that plate. Come on. Oh, it's got glue on it, that's not good. Right, let's try again. Use the scalpel handle, there we go. So I'm just going to try and pack some into here to take up any voids that are between the two pieces of slate. That's pretty good. Let's get some down there as well. Right, so that's going to sit on there. Just going to put a little bit extra right in the middle. Right, I just need 1 scoop of akadama. Put this around the edge of the sphagnum, so that when the roots start growing, it grows into there as well. Right, just mould that up a bit, that's it. So put that on there, give a good squeeze down. Right. Some more sphagnum there, put some more in the back there, and put a big wodge under those 2 high roots and try and entice some new root from underneath there. Right, so I don't think we're going to need to tie this one in. I haven't put any tying in wires at the moment, but you can always fiddle that at a later date if you have to. So that's just dry my hands. So I'm just going to fill in all the way around now with the rest of the standard bonsai mix. Let's put that Akadama down there as well. Right, just another half a scoop of that. So as you can see, I'm going to pot it fairly deep, so you're not going to be able to see any of the root. Back to the standard mix. Just fill in around there. Right, let's just get a rake. Settle that in around the edge. Make sure we've got all of the roots covered over. That's it. That feels fairly firm in there, even though I've only just started to work that in. That's clean. Chop this up so we can remove that. So what I might do is water that in a little bit. That will help it to sink and fill up some of the voids. Right, I think that should be. I'm just going to put a couple more scoops of soil over the top. I'm going to leave that central piece of Akadama showing, because that's a good indicator of when the soil is drying out. Right, just one more scoop there, cover those high roots. That should be enough. Right, we'll give that a nice water, put it in the shade. Look after it for a few days and see how it goes. Thanks for watching.